So this July, we took a group of students and leaders down to the Challenge Conference. We had 16 students and 3 leaders. And the Challenge Conference is this huge gathering of churches from around the country. It's about 4,000 students that got together just to worship, hear these amazing speakers, and really just come together to get closer to God.
My first highlight would probably be the Royals game.
The Kansas City Royals game.
Kansas City Royals baseball game.
Definitely the Royals game.
Probably the Kansas City Royals game. It was really fun, just a good time.
I think my highlight was probably the Royals game, for obvious reasons.
What's your name? Hudson, your birthday is tonight. Happy birthday. Here's my birthday present for you. We do not have anybody to throw out the first pitch of tonight's game.
I thought it was really cool how Hudson, he talked about how he was like part of the youth group and he was there with his church. He put some light on God, so that was cool.
It was my first MLB game and it was just awesome. But it was just cool to see everyone like enjoying it, everyone had fun.
There was fireworks and a drone show, and it was amazing.
One of the biggest highlights for me was just seeing all the students really take to heart what God was doing in their lives personally, seeing them really contemplate what God could have for them after this conference.
My biggest highlight was the worship. I felt very connected to it.
I really loved the worship and hearing people sing.
The chapel, it was just really fun to see all people dancing, singing, having a good time worshiping.
It was just so beautiful to see thousands of kids run down there every single day and being a part of that.
Along with that, there was also the speakers who all brought great points.
I also enjoyed the speakers. I feel like they came there with an intent to speak into our lives.
A lot of different perspectives that I wouldn't have really thought of before, and that's only something you can get when you go to a conference with very different people.
I loved seeing our students wrestle with how God was speaking to them, what they were learning, how they were being challenged, and that was super cool.
My main takeaway from the trip was love your enemies. That's what a lot of the speakers talked about, and that's something I have to work on, and I just thought it was a great point.
Probably just how much faith can unite people, because it was everyone from everywhere across the country, all walks in faith, all walks in life. We're just coming and we're listening to speakers, listening and worshiping together and growing their faith, and it was just really great to see.
My biggest takeaway was learning how the importance of spending time with God, that you need to spend enough time with Him to have a good relationship with Him.
There was a sermon about just keeping yourself to a higher standard and raising the bar, and that's just been something that I've been it's been with me even after the trip. Just keeping yourself to a higher standard.
To trust God's plan even though you don't understand it, because it's really difficult for me to follow Him even though I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah. That's my number one takeaway.
Just seeing so many Christians my age was really encouraging. Because being in public school, you don't see as many Christians my age.
The importance of prayer, because when I was down there, I was able to pray over someone, and it just led to a lot of meaningful conversations. So it just made me realize how important a 3-minute prayer can be for someone.
One of the lessons that people you don't necessarily need to stand up to worship. You can just sit if you want, you can just worship whatever way works for you the best. It doesn't really matter as long as you're just worshiping.
I went to one of the breakout sessions. It was called God Speaks Sling, about how God teaches the Bible so that everyone could understand it. How he used it back then to teach people about God.
My biggest takeaway from the trip was that I need to have a more personal and deep relationship with God. Because I've been going to church my whole life, I have a lot of knowledge about being a Christian, but I don't spend enough time trying to connect more with God instead of just learning about Him.
I get even a little emotional thinking about it because just that thought of thousands of students getting poured into for a week, going back to their home churches, their schools, their community, it gives you hope for the church, for the future. And so, that was powerful. That was pretty cool.
To actually just live out your faith, not just go through the motions. Sort of pay attention to what you're actually doing and the meaning behind it.
How can we take our faith from this and keep it going, because sometimes we get caught up in a big conference, get really into it, but when you go home, nothing really changes about you. And so how can you keep that going,